Hi, this is Craig Stocks here at Utah Desert Remote Observatories. You can find us online at utahdesertremote.com. And today's video was inspired by a question that was posed on Facebook. And it gives a good opportunity to talk a little bit about kind of the power of using Photoshop for astrophotography processing. So I had posted this image of the Eastern Veil Nebula, and somebody posed the question, what would it look like if I colored HA orange, sulfur S2 magenta, and then keep O3 cyan? So that's a good question, and it's also a good opportunity to really dig a little deeper into the structure of these layer groups and the power of using Photoshop or really any photo editor for color mapping and processing astrophotos. So to start with, let's talk. You can see it's affecting the entire image, and I'll just Control Z to undo what I just did. And next we have hydrogen, oxygen, and then sulfur. And the PiMagic Studio and the Astromagic plugin for Photoshop adds a little color code to the layer group so that you can quickly see that this is green, blue, and red. Now that has nothing to do with the color of the image, it's just there to identify the layers. If I open the hydrogen, for instance, and this is an SHO layer group, we can see that there are about 5 layers here, and each one of the image layer groups is going to look like this. At the bottom of the layer group, we have the image itself, and if I hold Alt or Option key and click on that eyeball, it'll turn off everything except just that layer. So this is what the raw data looks like after it was processed in PiMagic. And you can see there's some real unevenness here that was caused, I'm not sure if it's caused by flats that are getting out of date or high clouds, or this was also with a very bright moon. So the dream scope is very susceptible to moonlight. So either way, it's got some nasty unevenness in the finished image, and that's what this burn and dodge layer is correcting for. So if I alt click on this eyeball again, that'll turn all the layers back on. And let's turn off the sulfur and oxygen. And now we can see that the hydrogen, if we look at this entire layer group, it's green. And it's green because of this hue saturation adjustment layer. And if we look at the details of this hue saturation adjustment layer, we can see that it's in colorize mode, and it has values of lightness -50, saturation 100%, and then the hue slider is around, it's at 111, which is basically green. Now I can move this slider back and forth if I want to change the color of the hydrogen, and that's really where some of this power and flexibility comes from, because I can change the color of hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur just by moving this one slider. So it's very easy to fine-tune color. Now, just to make it a little bit more clear, I'm going to add a text layer, and I want to add it right above this burn and dodge layer that is evening out the image. So I'm going to grab my text tool, which I can get to by clicking on the T in the toolbar or tapping T on the keyboard. And I want white as my foreground color. And I'll just come here in the center, click to place a text layer. And this is hydrogen, so I'm going to type HA. And since this, even though the text itself is white, and it shows on a clear background, since it's part of a layer group that's being colored green, then that text layer picks up the same color. So let's do the same thing with oxygen and sulfur. So I'm going to go to my oxygen layer group, and I'll just click to create a text box. I'll type O3, and notice that it's blue because it's in a layer group where the hue saturation is coloring it blue. And lastly, I'll do the same thing with sulfur. Come over here, type S2, and click the checkbox to commit. Now those are kind of uneven and unorganized. One of the tools in Photoshop lets you filter by type of layer, and one of the types of layers you can filter by is a text layer. So if I click on the T, it's going to filter all the layers and show me only the layers that are text layers. And now I can select these 3 layers, select my Move tool, and then align these 3 layers so they're aligned according to the bottom. And you could use bottom, middle, top, it doesn't really matter. And then if I want to organize them, I might select just the HA and move it over, select the O3, move it over to get nice even spacing. And if I want to move all 3, I could click on one, shift click at the other end, and it will select all of those. I don't want to select this image info, that's the one up at the top, but I can move this entire group around. And when I'm done editing these, I can just click again on the T in the layer filter, and we go back to the full image with all of the layers, and now my text layers are better organized. Now the beauty of this is I can immediately see what color I have color mapped each one of those layers. So now if we go to, for instance, the hydrogen layer, I think he suggested we color map hydrogen, let's check, I think it was hydrogen orange, S2 magenta, and O3 cyan. So to do that, we'll just go to the hue saturation adjustment layer within the hydrogen layer group, and we'll shift the color to orange, and I can see that this HA has changed to orange because it's picking up the same color as everything else in this layer group. Oxygen, he suggested cyan. Right now it's more blue, so we'll move it to a cyan color. And then sulfur, he suggested magenta, so let's move it to magenta. And with magenta, orange, and cyan, that's what it looks like. Now, the whole image is probably too bright, so this is an opportunity to go to my global adjustments and the levels adjustment layer within global adjustments, and we can reduce the brightness. So with that color mapping, that's what it would look like. And of course, the flexibility here is that I can do any color mapping. If I, for instance, collapse the global adjustment so we have a little bit more room to work. Suppose I wanted to translate this into an HOO image. Well, I can just turn off the sulfur. I can go to my hydrogen and color map it red, and then go to my oxygen and map it cyan and turn off sulfur. And this is going to give us an HOO image, and if I want to fine-tune the exact tone of the oxygen, I can use the hue slider if I want it to be more blue or more green. If I want to, usually HOO I think looks a little better if we add a little bit of yellow to the red, just kind of livens it up a little bit. But it's that easy to translate this data into an HOO image. These text layers give me a kind of self-documenting indicator of how I've color mapped the different gases. And if I want to turn those off, I can just use this filter to go to my text fields and just turn off the eyeballs for those text layers. And now I don't have those visible. They're still part of the document. We can turn the stars back on. We can turn the metadata back on if we want. We can turn the logo back on. I can turn annotations on if I want to have annotations in the image. That's the kind of flexibility that you have with Photoshop, working in layers non-destructively. I originally processed this image several days ago. I saved it as a Photoshop document using the .psb, which is the large format document structure, so that it can save large documents with almost unlimited size. So I thought this made a nice example because it shows how easy it is to change the color structure of an image even after you've put it all together the first time, because of the non-destructive workflow in Photoshop and because of this very flexible color mapping. It gives you a huge amount of flexibility. So I hope you found this useful. If you have any questions, drop those in the comments down below. And as always, I hope you have a great day today and an even better night tonight under a clear, dark sky. Thanks.